are going to go ahead and get started. I am so excited to have everyone with us here today who is joining us live, and I'm sure we'll have a few more people join us too, but welcome to this week's CybHER Conversation. My name is Katie Shuck, and I am the CybHER Chief of Strategy for CybHER at Dakota State, and the CybHER Conversations are brought to you by Peraton, which you'll hear more about in upcoming weeks. But this week we have a wonderful expert from Italy, and she is going to, I'm going to introduce you to her in just a second. Before I do that, I want to also let you know that we have Dr. Ashley Podoratsky, one of CybHER's co-founders, with us. And we have Kanthi Narukonda, who is one of my colleagues at CybHER and CybHER's Chief of Operations. But without further ado, I do want to introduce Agnese Morici, who is a cyber enthusiast and data governance expert there in Italy, working in the public sector. Now, as she speaks, we are going to ask that you ask your questions via the Q&A at the bottom of the screen. So you can do that at any time during the conversation. And without further ado, Agnese, I'll let you speak.
Thank you, Katie, Kanthi, and Ashley for having me. I'm so happy, honored, and delighted to be here. Thanks for inviting me. And, you know, CybHER Conversation, it's a very amazing program, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you. And I'm sure that there are very, you know, amazing future cybercriminals right here, that they are with us. And I hope so that my story could be really inspire them. So thank you for having me. So the first question is where I started. So where I started my career path in the cybersecurity field. You know, I have always been convinced that there is no single perfect path to build up a career in the cybersecurity field. And certainly there is nothing wrong with taking one path rather than another. And the end, the important thing is that every one of us do something that makes us really happy, that we are driven by our own passion, something that we really like it. And it doesn't matter if a person discover it immediately or, of course, discover it later. What matters for me is to, you know, go in the same direction, which means find our own uniqueness, make this uniqueness a strength, and no matter, of course, our background and no matter our gender. So when I was, you know, a little girl, I used to see James Bond movies and dream of being a 007 girl. So this was my first approach to the security field. But I never thought, you know, it could become a real job. So when I grew up, I learned different kind of things. You know, you become patient about other contexts, other subjects. I was a very dynamic and curious girl. So I started my university studies in political science and international relations. So something that could be very far away from the a career in the cybersecurity field, because at that time I wanted to do a diplomatic career. You know, I always have this passion to do something that have an impact on society and people. But as a song of Coldplay said, if you never try, you never know. So when I had the opportunity to do a first hand-on experience in an embassy, so a dream environment for me, I didn't feel myself. I didn't feel happy, you know, as all my potential were in a sealed box, and I had found the key. I mean, I thinking it was the right key. So sometimes it can happen that you feel like this, you know, often life puts us in front of real challenges. And what we can do is to be, first of all, kind to ourselves and have a focus on our person. So we must not experience this kind of situation as a failure. And I want to stress this word because fail, it's first attempt in learning. If we see the FAIL, so this means that a failure could be a great opportunity to better understand what is right for us, what makes us more happy, and in making decisions, we have to understand also what motivates us. And as humans, our actions are mostly determined by what we want to do, and of course, what we really don't want to do. And pursuit is a strong force in our motivation. So sometimes it can pull us in a very different directions, and we remain stuck exactly where we are. And the important thing is to, understand the forces that are behind our goals, what really striving towards a new opportunity or new, in my case, career path, because it is something that can go in two directions. So sometimes we really want to pursue this kind of career path because we are running toward this career path or this new opportunity. And so the feeling is the passion. On the other hand, we can also escape for our current situation. So running away, which is mean fear. And there are no pro and cons of this. Fear is a legitimate feeling here, so don't be afraid never to express fear, because of course we are all human. But I wanted really to stress its importance of doing big decisions. And when we are doing big decisions, we are only focused on ourselves, and we need to only focus on ourselves. It is important to be surrounded by context and people who love us, who are our big fan, who support and promote our career and our path, and ask for help if you think this is the right decision. And at that time, mine was to be, as I always told to myself, an Agar poppy. I don't know if you know the story of the poppy. If you ever see a poppy field, they are so beautiful, so colorful, and but what you notice is that the poppies are the same height. And in real life, this means that living in a world that allows us to be with others, but makes feeling us at the same level, so same as everyone else. There is no way in a world of poppies that one person prevail on the other, or there is always a meritocratic world. Everyone is given the same opportunity, and everyone grows at the same time. And this can always see as something very special. But if we think about this kind of poppy environment for one moment, if we want to be taller, there could be always someone that comes and cut down ourselves, that makes us clap in a very silent way when we reach our goals. So makes us feeling wrong when we feeling that we are not the architect of our own destiny, like you don't deserve to be an Agar poppy, it is wrong towards others, you have to stay at your place, you don't dream of greater things than you. And the period that I lived to build up a career in the cybersecurity field was very challenging for myself. So I once attended a conference where some women talk about issues related to the context of defense and security. And I remember when I was a child, so my happy face in seeing, secret spies movies. And in Italy, there is a song that says that certain loves don't end. They make a kind of huge turns and then they came back. And I realized that my passion was never over. So I left my comfort zone and I started my first-hand experiences in the security field, in the ICT field, for being an Tiger puppy. So here I had the opportunity to hold different kind of roles. I was the unique younger of the division. I was growing so fast. I was achieving more and more because I started as a part-time internship student. Then I became an executive assistant. Then I became the manager of the ICT tenders, so public procurement. And then the head of the external relations. And I was able to create, new strategic partnership for the company that I used to work. So this means a lot of responsibility while I was a student. So while I was studying for the last exam of my bachelor degree. And I was so happy, so proud of myself because I was improving my skills and better knowing the security system. But then there was always that feeling of people, were always happy for me, and I was always questioning, but this is real, they are really happy for me. And one day one of them talked to me and he stressed it was a young man, he stressed that I wasn't doing something extraordinary because others did before me. So I started questioning if I was doing something wrong, if it was wrong, to be kind to myself, to celebrate my little goals that for me at that time was so big and so important. Maybe I should be silent, the classical syndrome of the impostor. And I think that for women and for young women, it's very usual to have these kind of feelings. And I want to stress this with you because there's nothing wrong. You will always, you should always be kind to yourself, and you should always celebrate your goals. No matter if they are a step one or a bigger one, you have always to celebrate your goal. And you have never, dubbing of your achievements. And, was a very introvert when I was little. A few words, always mute, not the girl who rise and stand up and speak for herself in front of people. So be the head of the external relation that time was for me a great achievement. But it took me a lot to close this kind of sense of fearless. But I was building my career and I was so happy for myself and I wanted to be this kind of Tiger puppy. And, I was discovering firsthand what it means to be a woman in the security and later in the cybersecurity field. I was judged because I didn't have a technical background. I didn't have the right attitude to be part of this field because there are lots of bias and prejudice of the sector. If you are not so smart and not so nerdy, you can't be able to build up a career in the cybersecurity field. This is false. If you don't have a technical background, you can't build up a career in the cybersecurity field. False. The cybersecurity field is a very huge and broader field, and there are lots of roles, lots of positions, and lots of job opportunities. And no matter your background, if you have passion in this field, you will achieve your goal. And I was discovering when I was doing this kind of first-hand experiences, different kind of people who came from different kind of background. Mine which is social science, so international relations, something very far from the imagination of people about the cybersecurity field. I know also people that have background in psychology, which is very, very important. I was discovering that there is a very important relationship between psychology and the cybersecurity field. And also, there are some managerial division in cybersecurity field, more technical profile, more profile related to the cyber defense field, like blue or red teams or purple teams, people that have a background in law. And so this means that they can create a kind of career in the cybersecurity field related to data protection, data governance. And those who work in the national, international institutions, bodies to build capacity building in cybersecurity, those who deal with cyber diplomacy. So there is a very huge world toward cybersecurity. And the good thing that each of us, regardless our gender background, can really bring value to this field. So right now, what I'm doing is a cyber project manager and cybersecurity consultant, and I'm working for different kind of national and international stakeholders, especially in the public sector. So this means that I provide advisory and technical expertise to help this kind of clients, stakeholders, to design and deploy a state-of-art of the cybersecurity practices and operating models. And I'm engaged also in different kind of national projects to try to close the cyber gender gap. And I'm always happy and delighted to be engaged with other outstanding cyber women's association by continuing my mentoring activities, also new educational programs for future cyber girls. And, that having some project management skills, it's very important for the cybersecurity field. And you can also not have a certification in project management. I mean, I'm doing project and I don't have a certification in this, but project activities can came from other areas. And even though in the school environment, does the teacher never ask you to do a work group, some project? Maybe a teacher could ask you to expose this, to speak in front of your class. So here you can build up soft skills required by the sector, even in the school environment, such as team building, team working, project skill, public speaking. So you see, it's still it's still something that everyone can really achieve. And does it seem so impossible after my story that everyone can really bring something in this field, no matter your background? And my main goal when I was young was to always to have an impact on society and people. That's why I have chosen the political science and international relations studies. But cybersecurity is similar to a social science because it concerns human behavior and perception of risk and personal abilities. I mean, the operational parts require, of course, technical application, but it also needs a lot of soft skills, communication, teamwork, critical thinking, to get the knowledge out to turn security practices into common sense and habit. And all these soft skills required for this field are female oriented. Statistics show us that the majority of the soft skills like communication, teamwork, critical thinking, have a kind of analytical and problem solver aspect. They are only film oriented, and you know that also, if you would like to achieve a more C-level, for example, the Chef Information Security Office, which is one of the most important high-level the cybersecurity field, the 70% of the skills required are soft skills. So this means that girl can obviously be and build up a career in a C-level system. So the end of my story. So the end of Be a Higher Poppy. You don't give people the power to silence yourself, because those people are doing this because they are so jealous of your voice, and we need to focus more on what we really need instead of what others think about ourselves. Only we are in control of our thoughts, and we cannot control other thoughts. So let's change our way of thinking. Today we can be who we want to be. Our voice, our thoughts can be really loud, but you know, you have to choose if these thoughts should be silent, or you let your voice be louder. So it's always up to you to focus on what we are, on what we can do, and what we can do, whatever we want, of course. At the end of the day, you know, the important thing is that you let this kind of best version of yourself shine. And because we don't have to do a comparison, because we are all unique, different, because we, you know, we can grow all together, perhaps in different time, perhaps with different paths, but in, you know, in the same direction, which is upwards. And I think always that the sky is the limit, and we can achieve a career path in cybersecurity field. Also, if we would like to take different kind of direction, different kind of paths, because as we know, there are lots of roles in the cybersecurity field, and there are lots of resources, which is very, very important to stress. Another important message that I would like to give, and this is my last part, because Italian speaks so fast and a lot, so I'm so sorry for this. My last part is some advices to cyber future girls. So failing is normal. So failing again is normal. Keeping going, trying harder and better is the right thing to do. And don't go at it alone. So there's so many organizations that exist to help you drive. And I was very lucky to have a mentor during my first steps, and it was an extraordinary woman in this field. And I consider it essential to rely on someone more experienced who can give us, you know, the true secret of cybersecurity. And I would like also to say that networking is really important. So creating that feeling of sisterhood that can revolutionize the cybersecurity field and make it more inclusive. Don't be afraid to express yourself. Don't be afraid also to feel yourself not smart for this field. Each of us with our own value, with our own expertise, can bring value to this field. Empower yourself to empower others. be curious, passionate, choose what you would like to be, what you really like, what you really enjoy. You have to enjoy this path, this journey in the cybersecurity field. So in order to excel, one definitely needs to love what he's doing. Whatever I have achieved so far is just a teeny drop in the ocean. So I would like to add something that I have been advised by my mentor, which is be resilient. And another important thing is this, that one of the most thing related to cybersecurity field is, if we have to describe this field, is something that is related to resilient. And female, women, future cyber girls, that women are more resilient. This means that we are strictly connected to this field. So be resilient. It's something very important. It's a trait to carry through your career. And women have a special strength, have a solution-driven attitude, the ability to solve problems based on their human skills. And as I told you before, if we have a look at the job market, at all the companies in this field, what we can see, that many large industry representatives have ladies in operational directive position. This means that what is more important is the human capability and the human skill set, and not necessarily the technical one. So if you want to enter the cyber domain, there are no limits. You can do it. Another important thing is never stop learning. Keep editing, believing in your uniqueness, in your creativity. Try to grasping as much knowledge as you can from resources. They are available on internet, online, offline, from people who look up to the industry. This world as ample of kind people that really happily help you hear to be heard. So try to listen, gain as much as you can to build a strong foundation, to be the best version of yourself. Always remember that your competition is always with you and only with you. So attend seminars, talks, panel discussion, to keep yourself updated with the latest trends and technology. Make sure to read blogs. There are lots of panel discussion that will change your perspective towards this field. And for me, if I never attended this, that kind of panel different years ago, I was never, able to be to change my way of thinking about this kind of field. And there are also different kind of resources, such as the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Careers and Studies, the NICE's Cybersecurity Workforce Framework, that stress the importance that this domain it's so huge. So no matter your background, you can really achieve different kind of roles, different kind of positions. There are also on this niche a list of free and low online learning resources, podcasts. I'm really in love with podcasts, and there are so many podcasts by outstanding and amazing experts in the cybersecurity field. They always stress very important insights and tips about this field. YouTube, of course, GitHub, there are different resources, free resources. So Google, it should be your best friend. And if you really use Google, you can discover a world of resources about cybersecurity field, blogs, and for the more technical aspect, I will suggest you try Acme, Hack the Box. These are free labs environment when you can really experiment yourself and build up little skills with different kind of technologies.
Thank you so much for sharing with us your words. Katie and I, we've been writing so many things down. We're like, oh my God, this is a great quote. We're just writing everything down because it's, thank you so much, because we don't usually see so many people speaking about imposter syndrome. It's so common, but we don't see a lot of discussion around it. And thank you. We have a question for you. So you have held many different positions in your career. You've worked for NATO, you've worked for the ICT, you've worked in promoting the women, peace, and security agenda of the United Nations. And of all of these, is there, so I have two questions actually. What has been the most challenging role, and what has been, or what do you consider your greatest accomplishment to be so far? Because the best is yet to come.
Always. So the main challenge towards among this kind of different position was in NATO for two reasons. The first one, it's a military field. And this means that, for a little, because I was very, very little at that time, a very young woman, a very young girl, it was very difficult to be engaged with the military system. The challenge was also because I was the unique girl of the division. So not only because of the military system, because there are, the challenge of being engaged with them because of the mindset, because they have a different kind of level of communication. So if I was engaged in this environment, and I was so afraid of fail, no, so afraid of express myself, so afraid of speak louder, because I was the unique girl inside of the division, and I was also the advisor of the division. So my first day at NATO, and I would like to say this because of the gender bias about this field, it was I went to NATO, I went into my division, I introduced myself, and all the militaries thought at that time that I was the waitress and not the advisor of the committee. So even though there is something wrong about me as a waitress or a person that would like to build up a career in this, as a waitress, there is nothing wrong about this. But the importance that I would like to stress is that, be a woman alone with other men is always a challenge, because they are always thinking that we are not able to do projects or things in the cybersecurity field, and we are not able to get engaged with them in huge programs, because I was engaged with militaries from North Africa and Middle East, so also another culture. This means not only the mindset of the military sister, not only the fact that I was the unique girl, but also a different culture. But the important thing for me was to get the right attention for them, great visibility, not because I would like to say, I'm here, I would like to be heard. No, not this. It's because it was so important to be a team, to engage also women in the security table. And no matter your background, or your matter your age, or your matter what you're thinking, women can really bring value. And I always stress this with the military system, because I was thinking also about the importance of having different kind of perspective when you are dealing with the security system. So if we are living the 50% of all the world, because women are the 50% of the human being, and we leave this woman alone and not on the security table. This means that we bring criminals to express better themselves, because criminals have different kind of expertise, and they came from different kind of backgrounds, of course. And women with their broader perspective, with their own expertise, can see the problem from a different point of view. And this could be something very important to achieve the main goal. So I think that it's very important to create a very inclusive cyber community, because if we would like to build up a better and safer community, we should also bring this kind of other perspective and expertises, and women at all stage can bring this.
That is wonderful. I think that's a great response. And I tie that back to something you said early on, where you said, find our uniqueness and make this uniqueness our strength. And sometimes our uniqueness is that we are women. So I think it's a great thing. We are out of time. And so I am going to launch the poll that we have every week. And if all of our attendees can fill that out, we would greatly appreciate it, so that we know who all is participating in the program and just what you think about our programs. And as you're doing this too, just a reminder to go onto our website at cybher.org to find all of our CybHER conversations and register there. Next week, we will have Lisa McKee, who is a privacy engineer from Protiviti, speaking. And so we hope you'll join us live for that. But you can also, if you do have to miss a week, then you can go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and all of our conversations are posted there. But please be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we thank you again, Agnes, for coming and joining us this week and helping us inspire the future of cybersecurity. We wish everyone a good night.